massive number of people have been upgrading. Yes.
There you go. You see the graceful limb that you were talking about before.
The race we've got yet again, and a victor then goes victory to an American, Andy Hampton.
The felt it go by. He looks at the Colombian rider. How are you doing?
Straight past Santiago Botero, and he's coming up to Pantani.
Armstrong is sitting in the last few hundred metres as we come towards the finish of this monumental stage. And Armstrong,
as we start to approach the line now, Pantani grits his teeth and accelerates and over the line.
Is going now to win stage number 15. Sepp Kuss, an emotional finish from Durango in the USA. Sepp Kuss wins.
We're live. Tyler Yonke, Between Two Wheels podcast. Coming to you, which one is this? Let's take a look. Episode 395. Bollène to Valence, 150. No, that's 100. That's the. How far is this stage? 160.4 kilometers. Welcome, everybody. Stage 17. And will you allow Tower Gang to reconvene once the tour is over? It's not up to me. Victor, Between Two Wheels is live, so this is a different thing I do. Jordan, I'll see what I can do. 160.4 kilometers today. Here is the stage profile. Let's get it up there. Boom, boom, boom. A sprint point about 48 kilometers in. A Cat 4 is a little steep, about 66K in. And then at 116, another Cat 4. And then straight down to the finish. Should be very straightforward. It should be a day for the sprinters, but and we're gonna recap a few things here. Let's see what else. What is this profile thing here? We got that. There's the last straight coming in, so it's got a left and then a left, a little bit of a U-turn there. Nothing on the profile for the last bit coming in. There you go. There's some stuff for this. Okay. So let's also look at because the points jersey. So if you don't know, the green points jersey, they have sprints points along the way, intermediate sprints. You get points for the certain amount of points they'll scatter in for there, and points for the finishing stages. So it's a jersey that's supposed to be for a sprinter, but Tadej Pogačar has been winning mountain, and they have points on the top of these mountain climbs. But they also have points up there for King of the Mountains. So it's a little bit, I don't know. I don't like necessarily the way it is, but it typically goes to a sprinter or an all-arounder. And you've got to, if you're not winning sprints at the finish, like flat stages like today, semi-flat, then you've got to be going for these intermediate sprints or at least be placing up there. So it awards consistency, okay? And we've got Jonathan Milan is in first place going into today by just 11 points over Tadej Pogačar. Now, what I wanted to point out is, and we'll walk through the points here, but like the stage today, you've got 20 points at this first, and all the way down to 15, 20, 17, 15, 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's how they award them for this intermediate sprint. And then at the finish line, you have a whopping 50 points. So, and then we have, that's today. And then tomorrow, there's a sprint point. First 23 kilometers comes in an intermediate sprint. Okay, got probably 20 points there, but then probably 20 points at the top of this mountain tomorrow, which is brutal. And then you have La Plana on, Friday. And this is, once again, a sprint at the first 8 kilometers. And then, points at the top of this HC, this giant mountain. And then we have 2 more and there's sprints. Anyway, so Jonathan Milan's in the green jersey. He wants to hold on to this. And so what are you going to do? Well, yesterday we've been seeing this a bit where you get these sprint points. Now, yesterday was a stage not for the sprinters, right? It was overall for the climbers. It was a nasty little finish up here. But at 112 kilometers, the first 112, it's just dead flat. So you need to get your shit together, hold everything together, or if the break goes up the road, it goes up the road with maybe a few that can take some points, but you can still gather some, or just you're not worried and a big group goes up the road. But Trek was all over the place yesterday. Quinn Simmons, He's been great. It's fun to watch. He's very strong. I wish he would be on a team that will teach him some stuff, you know, rather than allowing him to complain about Tim Wellens the other day, who just sat on and then beat us for 40K. Yeah, how about you don't expend as much energy and learn from that, okay? There's something to be said. Now, you can have different reasons for not pulling in the brake when you get there. One is if you have a sprinter behind, you go, nope, I got a sprinter. I'm just going to sit on here. Okay, maybe that's one. Or you have the GC rider. Different reasons. Or if you are there, maybe don't pull like a monster and attack until you have to. Anyway, these are some things, but you know, Quinn Simmons is lighting it up, and it's been a lot of fun. Once again, go over to our friends over here at Paraka Pack. They've been doing tour updates. They just watched the 30 plus minute highlights. Been enjoying Tom and Emily. Is that it? I think that's their names. But go check them out. I do have a link in there. Okay, let's get to the issue today, because once again, yesterday it was some weirdness going on. Jonathan Milan is jumping up into the break himself, doing work that he shouldn't be doing. You know, you got to have your guy, and then when you come to the sprint, if there's some points left over, be able to take them, right, and control things. So with that in mind, I think Trek comes into it today and they're like, look, yesterday maybe we couldn't control things. I don't know. You know, Quinn Simmons is kind of doing his thing. What if, take a deep breath. What if we actually controlled things and got a stage win? If you get a stage win today and the sprint points, you may put yourself in a position where you're going to lock this green jersey up and not really care so much if Tade runs the board on the next few stages. So here we go, 113K to go. Things are already being controlled for the most part by little Trek. And Interwanchi Marche rider goes down. Beret, I think is his name. He was damaged. He sat there for a while. A few riders here with Quickstep, Sudal, and Israel Primertech. Now, with that in mind, you also have to understand that there's other teams out there that have, especially in a sprint stage like this, you don't have many left, maybe the only one, because we talked about this coming in the Champs-Élysées is stage 21 into Paris. It's usually a sprinter stage, it's a little processional, and then you light it up and it's for the sprinters. I don't think it is this year, because they come out of that, Mont 3 times. It's pretty brutal. So it may not warrant itself for that thing. So you can't really wait. You got to take advantage. So these sprinters teams should be lining up to help you. Sudal Quickstep. They have 4 stage wins. 2 of them by Melier, 1 by Venipol, yesterday by Valentin Parapente. They need to, well, they don't need to, but they can get another stage win by Melier. Now, he screwed up on stage 1 and didn't, or Jonathan Milan did as well. Melier, I think he missed out on the split that they had. Jonathan Milan, I think, crashed or went down or got hung up on that last bit. So you had the first stage going to Alaphilippe. Point is, Melier missed that first one. So they could have been really running the tables, but they weren't. So Quick Steps back here. Barret down, not so good. But a break does get up the road. And with that break, you have... let's see if I have the Albanese in there. Matteo Bergado, Vincenzo Albanese of EF Education, Quintin Pashir. Those 4 head up the road. They don't get much time, but they do come through the first sprint. And Jonas Abrahamson, for Uno X, he's got a stage win already, remember. He comes through here, and he does take up the first 2 points. However, the main group comes through. Trek is at least keeping things in contention here, leading things out, and Jonathan Milan gets a nice, easy win over Biniam Girmay. Simone Consoni, Turgis is in there. But so little Trek took from the Stuyven, Edward Toynes, Tom Squeens, Quinn Simmons, Simone Consoni, and then Jonathan Milan. Those are all the guys for their team taking points, which is important to do. I saw this the other day when Matthew van der Poel was still in there, and they went through, and I think there was a little gap to somebody, and they kind of just let the next people come through and get points. It's like, no, keep putting the pedal down. You take as many points as you can when your boy wins. It just means there's less points. What if Tade is rolling around here, milling around in the front? This group heads out. They're hitting up the first category 4 climb. They have a decent little gap. Jonathan Milan starts to get distance. Up this, Alaphilippe goes down. He actually kicks his bike. Let's see if we have this here. The guy goes to help him, and he He's not so happy. 2 of the Ineos riders go down. They seem to be okay. They're getting back in there. However, we missed it here. Up the first climb, Ineos puts the pedal down hard. Now, there was a radio, I don't know if it was for sure, I had heard that their team manager's like, look, let's get something out of this. Let's just have a show. And it's like, so they just rode hard on a Cat 4 climb for no reason. Look, some of the sprinters were getting spit out at the time, but it was all of them. So when you got Melier back there, Jonathan Milan, who else do we have? Jordi Meus, all of the big riders back, Tim Melier, what's his name here? Girmay, there you go, Girmay. When they're all getting spit out the back, then you're going to be okay, because all those sprinters teams are going to do something to get him back. And that's what happened. However, they come up to the second categorized climb. Quinn Simmons has been just marshaling this thing. He's going after riders and sitting on them, bringing them back. And he's doing it in a way that's not like we saw Niels Paulette the other day, where he's yelling at riders. And then there's some controversy about that. And we'll actually play a little clips here. However, coming up to this climb, 2K to go to the top, 45K to the finish. There's a gap about a minute up to the group. Wout Venner attacks off the front. Trek Simmons looks back. He's got his whole Trek team on his wheel. He just says, you know what? We'll just keep going. And he puts the pedal down himself without dropping everybody, just puts it down. Now, if you remember, I think it was his first Tour de France. Quinn Simmons was in a break with Wout, and I'm trying to remember the other guy's name. I think he had won at Liège at one point. I'm trying to remember his name. They were up in a break, and Wout was just blowing everybody away. And Quinn's like, someday I want to ride like that. Well, he's been riding like that. Matter of fact, a little bit more prominent and special than Wout has been this tour. Anyway, Wout gets a little bit of a gap up there, but he eventually just sits up. This group is blazing up front. There's nothing happening. The group behind is still coming. He sits up, comes back to the group. Little Trek is still going. 11K in. Bromwitson actually does it a little attack here. He gets away from Bergadeau and the rest, and he is out solo for a little bit. Albanese finally comes back to the group. The rain starts coming down, and teams start getting concerned, but they're riding hard into the finish. 5K to go. Let's go here. 5K to go. They actually bring Bromwitson back. Teams are getting set up. What's interesting, you had all the Trek team had done a fabulous amount of work for bringing the break back and keeping things under control. And then you had Stuyven was in there with Jonathan Milan trying to get in position. 1.5K to go, right around that spot. An actual crash takes place here. Jonathan Milan's actually on Stuyven's wheel. He starts getting moving up. Looks like he's in good position. There's I'm trying to see if this is the spot right here, because there is a Cofidis rider that comes over. Yeah, he just passes him. Cofidis rider comes over inside the 1K and causes a wreck. Hits Bittner, I believe, for Postal Picnic NL. Just two riders behind of Jonathan Milan. He escapes, but Tim Melier doesn't. A few other riders go down. Uno X rider goes down. Tim Melier hits the brakes. He hits the group, but he is stopped. So all those riders get the same time. And then the group comes through. You have Arnaud Delis up there. You have Jordi Meus is up there. Jonathan Milan made it through with Stuyven. There's a XDS rider. Let me see if I can see him as well. So Denazy's up there. Paul Penhoy. Fedorov is up there. Ballerini for XDS. Lotto has Delib. They also have a lead-out rider. Groupama, once again, Rousset and Pinot were up there. Stuyven, like I said. Lotto had 4 riders up there. Bauhaus for Bahrain victorious. Dylan Groenewegen trying to hang on at the back, got a little gapped over there. As they come into the finish here, Lotto team hits the front with the XCS riders going, and then Jonathan Milan just waits his time. It's a downhill, downwind sprint. You can go a little early, get that jump. It's a little dicey with the weather, with the rain. Jonathan Milan hits out, and then on his wheel is Arnaud Delis. Now, if you look at the overhead, Milan looks like he's going to start drifting to the right. And as he does, he then, Arnaud Delis on his wheel, he starts drifting there to follow him. But then Milan kind of comes back to straightens it out. Touch of the wheels, Arnaud Delis, front wheel, touches the back of Milan's. He has to brake, catches his balance, does not go down, tries to re-grip. But in the end, Jonathan Milan has too much. However, Jordi Meus of Red Bull comes in below bike throw, but he's about a half bike length behind. And there you go. First place, Jonathan Milan, Jordi Meus, Tobias Lund, Posto Picanel and Arnold Lee in 4th place, Ballerini in 5th. Now, what's interesting, let's see if they show it here. In the wreck was Girmay. He went down hard on his shoulder. He was holding it the whole time, never put his hands back in his bars. His handlebars were ruined. He might be out of it. Here's maybe the overhead. Let's see if we can see this. Nope. Anyway, good finish here by Jonathan Milan. Does his team well. You got to see coming over the finish. Actually, let's see if I think I might have a picture. Oh, it's on our image here. That's the wrong one. I didn't update the image. Let's see if I can find. I know where it is. Okay, so Milan sprints in, and there we go. Let's take a look at this photo here. So the whole team, little Trek team, comes in. You have Squeens, and I think it was Thibault Nice is pointing at Quinn Simmons, and he's kind of like giving a fist pump, basically being the hero of the day. Yeah, because he rode one. The team put it together today. Okay, you had Squeens. I mean, sorry. What was his name here? Why am I? Stuyvens. Jasper Stuyvens put Milan in position at the end, got him up in front of that little crash, put him in position to ride wheels, and the other teams were leading out. Like I said, Lotto had 4 guys still after the little split. They were still being able to do a lead out for Deli, and this, he just missed it. And Jonathan Milan put it in place. And for one, to see the team kind of rebound from shit in the bed the last few, stages that you've seen happen, where Milan is chasing down riders yesterday, getting caught in the back. He's doing it instead of his team. It's finally, okay, the team rallied around him, and he finished it off. And Quinn Simmons gets a lot of credit because he did a ton of work up there in the front today. Once again, we saw teamwork go to the extreme yesterday with Visma. I thought they did great teamwork. It just didn't work out. You can't drop Tadej, but Jonas puts up one of the best times up the climb of anybody. The whole way up. They did it from A to B. They did great work. Visma did. Same with Trek today. I would just give them a lot of credit for how they actually rode, the whole entire team. Maybe 1 or 2 wasn't quite in there, but it appeared to me that they had been doing very good. Victor says liked. Yeah, you guys liked the channel, liked the episode. It only helps us all. There we go. Let's take a look at the stage winners now. I did this yesterday, only because we didn't really thin the herd. So we have Jonathan Milan here, but once again, it's all the same teams winning. We still have Israel Primertech, Jayco, Intermarché. They haven't won. Who else is here? Maybe we should just go to the start list, because there's like 15 teams that still haven't won. Visma's won, UAE's won, Quick Step's won, EF has won, Intermarché has not, Bahrain has not, Ineos hasn't. No, they did win. I'm sorry. Red Bull has still not got a win. Trek with 2. FDJ, they haven't had anything. Alpecin has a win. Tudor has been close, but no cigar. Jayco needs one. Arkea B&B Hotels, they've been close, but no cigar there either. Decathlon, AG2R, no. Movistar, no. Cofidis, no. XDS, Picnic, no. Total Energies, no. Israel, Lotto, no. Uno X, yeah, we got one. One of the wild card teams. They came through. They got one. They got it taken care of. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a preview for tomorrow. Oh, so maybe we should actually let's go back to the results here. Okay, so the results we saw what those were. GC didn't change any. At least I didn't see anybody dropping down. Points jersey. There we go. So Jonathan Milan now has 312 to 240. So what's 312 minus 240? 72 points. Okay, and maybe tomorrow we'll do a little spreadsheet breakdown of the points that are left. But I could give you a little bit of an indication here we have coming up. So tomorrow with 70 points, you've got 20 points on the line at the first sprint. Let's just assume Jonathan Milan takes that. But then at the finish, you can assume. So we're going to assume points at the finish. I'm going to go through this tomorrow. We'll assume points at the finish for Hills go both to Tadej 100%. And 100% to the sprint to Jonathan Milan. I think he's got this thing locked up. So 20 there, 20 there, 20 at the finish for La Plagne, 20 there. So those just would equal out for those 2 days. Then you have the last few days coming in, and these points actually start racking up. You got 20 for the intermediate, but then you have 30 at the finish. And then Sunday's stage, 20 points at the intermediate, but 50 at the finish. So, you know, it could be, could come down to the wire, but I think he being Jonathan Bollène, I think he's going to be able to hold on to this thing. Okay, there's Niels Pollitt. Let's see, maybe we'll put it on here. Niels Pollitt, he said, me and Tadej stopped for a pee. I learned this in my career, that if the yellow jersey stops, there's a quiet for a moment and everybody stops attacking. But maybe there's a new rule in cycling and we have to learn about this. Well, maybe that wasn't a rule before. It was just courtesy. And I don't know. I'm on a stage like when he was trying to control this shit the other day, it didn't matter if these guys go up the road. I don't know why UAE was trying to control things when they were, while Niels Pollitt was doing this. It seemed like unnecessary. And I think what was probably happening, because I've seen this stuff too, which is a yellow jersey wants to make it easier for his team. So he pulls over to take a piss. And then everyone just kind of leads up. And then, you know what? Now you're controlling the stage. There you go. So this is an event that took place today. 90 seconds before the finish, this guy breaks out into the field, onto the course. And let's take a look here. Let's cut the volume so we don't get struck here. He jumps out there. He's got a decathlon jersey on. These officials are trying to get him, and this guy gives him a shoulder. He goes down hard, and now he's clutching like his, I don't know if he broke a clavicle or something, but watch how they're like, oh shit, the race is coming. So they just drag this mother effer off. Now, I thought I saw, I guess I didn't save it here. There was a video I had of him actually going onto the course. He was filming himself and then it went on there, but maybe we'll show that tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, let's go to the stage profile for tomorrow. This is the one. This is the one. I'm dead. We do have that. We do have that clip actually. Let's go it again here.
Trying to defend his place in the general classification.
I'm gone. I'm dead.
There you go. I'm gone. I'm dead. Tadej Pogačar. But will he get some redemption from this? I want to see. I'm going to, because we just have a few seconds here, and then I'll bow out. I promise. But 2024, I don't believe that they went up to Courchevel at. Let's see. No, was it 2023? Let's see if they went up there in 2023. It would be to Courchevel. There you go. Saint-Germain Blanc to Courchevel. Let's go to the results for this. Felix Gall. Okay, that is the time that they went up there last time. So Felix Gall won that over Yates. We go, there you go. That was where they went up there in 2023 over Yates. Jonas was fourth on the day. So that one was a little bit different, where they come up over the top to the court here, then they drop down and then they go up over to Courchevel, which is just around the corner from where they were at. 2023, I think it was 2020, the first time they went up there. Let's take a look. That one would have ended, Col de la Loze. So that was Angel Lopez. Yeah, there you go. Lopez wins up, Roglic, Tadej. So Roglic put a little time on Tadej and Sepp Kuss. That was where Sepp Kuss just 56 seconds back. That's where Sepp had a chance to actually win the stage. They were all coming up there together, the four of them, and Roglic is like, go, and Sepp hits it, gets a little bit of a gap. Angel, Superman, he called himself, and he was super tanked because he's been disqualified for racing for drugs. I think that's what it was. He takes off, he breaks through, and then Roglic is able, I think just the two times we've been up there, because they just built a new road, and it's such a tiny switchbacks. We saw this last time, that motorbikes, are having a hard time getting around there. And I think one that Christian Van de Velde was on for Peacock, it falls over, it gets in the rider's way. It could be troublesome. But if you're off in the front, I think you're good to go. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem for that. There's Thursday, Friday, going to be barn burners. Saturday-ish and Sunday, I'm actually thinking it may be interesting for once. I hate the final stage. I'll watch the last 20 kilometers, 40 kilometers, but I hate all that pomp and circumstance. Plus, they start it later, so I don't get to just wake up and watch it early. I have to wait and wait and wait. There we are. Who is going to win tomorrow? Jonas. we're going to say Jonas is going to win. I think a break can't make it. Jonas is going to win, but it's going to be a sprint between he and Tadej. See you tomorrow.